Alrighty, people, it's another Sunday, and it's time for another weekly news roundup. It is Sunday, January 11th, so this is for the week of January 5th to 11th. And yes, the new 2 episodes of the Halo show just came out, so yeah, let's get into the weekly news after the intro. So don't forget, like and subscribe. And over here on Screen Rant, a little info about the new Mortal Kombat film. There was a hint a few days ago of a character that might be in the new movie, and perhaps they seem to be paying it off. A popular MK villain will make their live-action debut in the upcoming Mortal Kombat 2, almost 3 decades after being cut from Annihilation. They're referring to Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which I haven't seen, but it's supposed to be like a really bad movie. So Quan Chi, a significant character in the Mortal Kombat universe, will make his live-action debut in Mortal Kombat 2 after being removed from Annihilation. Quan Chi first appeared in an animated series. His role in Mortal Kombat 2 will involve resurrecting dead characters and manipulating the warriors. Quan Chi will be in Mortal Kombat 2, which was paying off a 27-year-old tease from the worst Mortal Kombat. There have been 3 live-action theatrical Mortal Kombat films, one of which is much worse than the other 2. There is yet to be a theatrical MK movie that succeeds both at an adaptation as in a film. The 2021 reboot came close to delivering it. Well, that's madness. The first one is clearly the best one from the 90s. That is clearly the best Mortal Kombat, so I don't agree with that statement. Well, I'm not sure what they're basing that on, but I mean, the reboot was good, but the original one is still the best so far, at least. The animated MK movies so far have been the best examples of how to bring the universe of the games to another medium. Yeah, in general, most animated adaptations are better than the live action ones. MK always has a strong history with animation, and one of the saga's most important characters actually debuted in an animated series. Quan Chi will make his live action debut as part of a Mortal Kombat 2 cast. I thought Quan Chi was in one of the games first, but I don't know the history that well. He first appeared in 1996 Defenders of the Realm show before showing up in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Maybe I'm confusing Quan Chi with someone else. No, that's him. Isn't there some like really bad game with like live action cutscenes in it? I'm not sure. Quan Chi was supposed to appear in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Yeah, you've already mentioned that. These articles are like, they mention the same crap over and over and over. They tease you with at least half a page before they get to what they're talking about. They force you to scroll down the page. It's kind of like a little bit snaky, I think. Enough of the rant. Annihilation premiered in 1997. A deleted scene from Mortal Kombat Annihilation sees Shinnok meeting with Quan Chi in another room after the event of the movie. Annihilation's Quan Chi also appeared in a couple promotional stills from the movie, all of which seem to have come from the same deleted sequence. It's unclear who will play Quan Chi for this scene. It is unclear who portrayed Quan Chi for this scene, but the costume and makeup were on point. More than 20 years after Annihilation, Quan Chi did appear in an official Mortal Kombat 2 for the first time in 2020 Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge, an animated feature. Now the character will finally make his proper live-action debut in the upcoming Mortal Kombat 2. The release date has not been announced. Could Quan Chi's role in Mortal Kombat 2 be? Mortal Kombat barely scratched the potential of the MK universe. The reboot did not even feature NetherRealm and only referenced some of MK's most important characters and locations. The sequel, on the other hand, seems to be diving into the Mortal Kombat lore. This includes the addition of Quan Chi, who will likely be responsible for the return of dead Mortal Kombat characters like VGAN, Kano, and Kung Lao. Quan Chi could have his agenda in NetherRealm, or he may be working with Shang Tsung. Quan Chi could also appear in Flash, so he's reviving anyone, whether they're good or bad. Kung Lao was good, and Kano was like both sides, but in the end, bad, because obviously, why would you trust Kano ever? 47? What the F? I love that movie, but that could just be nostalgia, but that's probably the lowest rating on something that I really like. I don't know, I love it. I think it's a good movie. But 4% for Annihilation? Like, holy crap, that's like really low. That's the lowest score I've ever seen. And 55 even, that's a little bit low too. The Netherrealm Necromancer is directly tied to Scorpion's origin story, which the first film mostly skipped. Not only is Quan the one who brought him back as Scorpion, they didn't really show that, they just showed him coming back, but is also responsible for the death of Hansel's family, depending on the version. Yeah, because in the film one, it was like Sub-Zero that killed everybody. Mortal Kombat 2 could reveal that Quan Chi pretended to be Bi-Han to kill Hansel's family, and then use Scorpion's revenge as a way to manipulate the warrior. This adds another layer to the tragedy of Scorpion and could even lead up to a team up between Hanzo and Bi-Han against Quan Chi. So like the article said, no announcement yet on when Mortal Kombat 2 is coming out. So over on Gustavo Santaolalla, I'm definitely saying it wrong, but this is the composer from the Last of Us games and the show, and he interviews Neil Druckmann, and most of it is just about the games and whatnot, but it does go into some Last of Us information. So I'm gonna drop that link below so you can watch that.
Yeah, you know, we were trying to make this movie, it didn't work out. Then some pretty, the game just got more and more popular over the years while we were working on the second game. Some high-level directors became interested in the property as a film, and sometimes I take a meeting with them, and it's a director like I admire, but in talking to them, I'm like, I just don't get it in a very deep level. So I didn't feel like it would be a good fit. And then you see some piece of art, and in this case it was Chernobyl, and the tone of Chernobyl. Again, unless you've made something like this, it's hard to articulate how difficult it is to land in that tone. That story can either be goofy or the wrong way, or it can be so depressing it's unwatchable. And to find this like fine line where it's like, there's horrific things that happen in it, but it keeps you engaged. It's almost like watching a thriller. More than that, I just wanted, like, sometimes, you know, you get to experience art, and if there's an opportunity to meet the artist, I jump on that, right? Because we could just talk to like this, talk to someone like, hey, what inspired you? What was the problem? What are the challenges? What are all the invisible things you have to deal with that you don't even see on the screen? Because I know what it takes to put something out there and how much work. Like, you know, there's like an ocean of things you throw away to land on the tiny bit.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
So I just wanted to have lunch with Craig to gush, and turns out he was a big fan of the game, and he was gushing in return. But talking about it in a way that I've never seen someone else talk about it, where he understood it on such a fundamental level, that I knew that he was really kind of curious about adapting it as well, just in those early conversations. What if we made it at HBO? And
Code List. Interview from a 2020 interview with Caitlin Dever. This part, Code List, is recent, but the interview is from a Collider from like 2020. And fell in love with the franchise years ago while she was playing the game with their dad, The Last of Us series. The actress appeared in an interview back in 2020. Her performance in the Netflix series, unbelievable. It was then she spilled the beans on her secret passion for video games, particularly The Last of Us. While speaking with Collider's Perry Nemiroff, she revealed how much of a fan she was of the series. We're told about her being cast as Ellie in the future live-action adaptation. A huge fan of the game. I don't know if many people know, but I'm saying it. I'm a huge fan of that game. I don't know what this means. When fans were told about her being cast, that she did read for the role of Ellie, obviously, and she is clearly the best choice from a look standpoint. She was probably second in line, but then they chose Bella overall. It's a beautiful story. It's just an amazing story, and I fell in love with the game when it came out. She's using The Last of Us. Continuing on, she added she had already played the 2013 debut. I played it with my dad, and we had the best time. That's very cute. On a side note, she mentioned being a bit inaccurate with aiming her shots in combat sequences. I'm not very good at it. My intention is really bad. However, she said that she is trying to improve and catch up. Better to play. Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann, creator of The Last of Us, she revealed that she was part of the 2016's Uncharted 4. She voiced and captured the work for Casey Drake, daughter of Nathan Drake. Yeah, I keep forgetting that she actually was in that game. In So that's kind of cool. He is going full circle again with Naughty Dog. Surprisingly though, when Caitlin was asked Joel's fan casting for the live action version, she mentioned Hugh Jackman, due to the fact that his name was trending for the role at the time. I've seen fans of Hugh Jackman as Joel. I like it. Actress while expressing her thoughts. In 2024, the show has found as Joel and pedropascal with the conclusion of Caitlin as Abby. It will be interesting their expected face-off to obvious reasons. Another hint that I will not reveal for you non-gamers that have no idea what's going to happen in season 2. Over here on CBR.com, this isn't a news. This is not any kind of news. This is just them kind of hypothesizing about the Netflix Assassin's Creed adaptation, and it could follow the True Detectives format, which like every episode, every season is a contained season, but going ahead too far because we don't know if it's gonna go past one season yet. Netflix is set to adapt the Assassin's Creed franchise, and it should look to True Detectives format. Yeah, look. So they're just seeing how it could be structured. It should emulate anthology format, would allow for a deeper study of the characters that made the game so popular. Assassin's Creed is one of the most difficult game properties to adapt on screen. The ill-fated 2016 movie has gone down in history as one of the worst adaptations in history of the genre. It's disappointed fans everywhere and lost sight of the things that made the game so beloved in the first place. Poor reception single-handedly frightened Paramount Pictures and New Regency away from the entire series of video game adaptations planned to release in the wake of the film. Therefore, when Netflix announced back in 2020 that it was developing a television adaptation of the franchise, fans were noticeably skeptical. This concern about the quality of the show has only heightened as the years went on. Very little information has been revealed about anything going on behind the scenes. At this point, the show is stuck in limbo. It recently lost its showrunner, and Netflix is staying silent about whether the show is going to be a true adaptation or not. However, there's one thing that could lay most fans' concerns about the quality of the show to rest. Again, they don't know what they're saying. They're not saying this is going to be what's happening. They're just suggesting it. Assassin's Creed should use an anthology structure to maximize its potential success. Each season of the show would bring a different game to life, much in the same way that book-to-adaptation movies bring one entry of the series to screen per season. Anthology series are incredibly popular right now, and capitalizing on that would be a fantastic marketing decision. A large part of the franchise's success can be chalked up to how many different characters there are. Each of them has their own unique story. Throughout the series' over 15-year lifespan, there has been 17 assassins. I didn't know that. That's a lot. And to get to know throughout the different games, ranging from anywhere from the mischievous Ezio Auditore to the morally complicated Bassam. Though some are more popular than others, part of the game's fun is learning the traits, behavior, and the quirks of each new protagonist. Therefore, to capitalize on something so important to many fans, the television series should try not to take on too many things at once and replicate the movie's mistakes. Instead, each season should adopt a different game, much in the same way that novel adaptations such as Percy Jackson's and the Olympians use one book per sequence within the game could be an individual episode, or perhaps multiple for particular long sequences. Thus, fans will get everything they want out of the series. If they wanted to, could skirt the characters that weren't particularly interested in by simply not watching the season which they feature. Taking this direction would also be a fantastic marketing decision in the first place. Anthology series are becoming remarkably popular with audiences. True Detectives, HBO's long-running crime drama, earned rave reviews nearly every season. I don't know about that. Season was still the best by far. The next two were kind of meh. But I'm hearing that season 4 is a lot better, but I'm waiting for the whole season to drop before I watch it. But Jodie Foster's in it, so that's already great. I love Jodie Foster, which takes a similar approach, has been nominated for the Golden Globe for Best Anthology Series for 4 of its 5 seasons. White Lotus is one of the most acclaimed shows of the modern era, the age of the limited anthology series, and Assassin's Creed could jump on the opportunity just to use such overguided format. The anthology format would allow for a deeper study of the characters that made the games so popular. If the Assassin's Creed show were to take on this anthology approach, allow for a deeper dive into what makes the show's most beloved characters tick. Say they begin the series with Ezio Auditore. I don't play a lot of Assassin's Creed, even though I've played Valhalla and Odyssey, but it feels like Ezio is one of everyone's favorite because he's been in more than one game. The show would then have a trio of seasons cut out from the beginning, as he's a protagonist of three equally entertaining adventures. So yeah, he's in 3 games. It could begin with Assassin's Creed 2, which may seem counterintuitive given that it isn't the first game. Works as a fantastic jumping off point, which is regarded by many fans as the best of the series. Yeah, I played 2 and 2 is great, way better than 1. The promise of a truthful adaptation of such a fan favorite game therefore enticed many fans who would otherwise be turned away by the potential of being burned by another mediocre version of the world they love so much. Then if this goes well, the show could move forward with the rest of the Ezio collection. First Brotherhood, then finally Revelations. Alternatively, seasons could alternate between Ezio's story and that of one of the other assassins. Alternatively, seasons could alternate between Ezio's stories and that of one of the other assassins, which would perhaps make it more fulfilling when, eventually, Netflix returns to his story to bring another of his games to life. By giving each game an individual season, Netflix would guarantee that it doesn't rush through character or plot development, which would be a disservice not only to fans, but to the source material itself, which is one of the most interesting stories in modern pulp culture. Adaptations are their best when they allow the initial incarnation of the story to breathe, rather than rushing through slower things that are crucial to the plot in the name of getting to the action as quickly as possible. The story of Assassin's Creed is just as powerful in its more character-driven moments as it is during the action. Again, looking just at Ezio, some of the most poignant pieces of his life come from the smaller moments he shares with some of other characters. These moments should get the chance to bring to life, even if they may not be the most adrenaline-packed in the show. Therefore, an anthology approach is the best way to go about doing this. Assassin's Creed also has tonal similarities to existing anthology series, thus making it even more likely that it would appeal to fans of the show. True Detective and Fargo. Neither of these shy away from showing the more gory, thrilling aspects of what their characters are involved in. For example, True Detective has certain scenes that feel more like rooted in horror than they do in the murder mystery genre the show claims to be part of. This episode has one of the most tensest moments in the entire series, the discovery of Dora Lang's naked body curled into an odd praying position, a mysterious symbol drawn on her back and crowned with a wreath of thorns, a kind of image that haunts viewers for ages after the episode ends and kicks off a thrilling season of twists and turns. And that moment kind of reminded me of Silence of the Lambs, which is a great and creepy horror movie. These genre-bending moments would lend themselves well to the inherently violent nature of Assassin's Creed. The games themselves are fairly bloody, just given the premise. The show is likely going to turn out the same way. Each character has countless losses throughout the game. To bring back the persistent example of Ezio, the execution of his father and brother is a traumatic moment, not only for him to witness, but for the audience to see as well. Alright, well, continuing on with Assassin's Creed on Collider, which was an exclusive, the show has lost showrunner Jeb Stewart. Netflix has been releasing several video game adaptations over the few years, in both animation and live action, including Castlevania, Arcane, and recently the incredible Cyberpunk Edgerunners. The streaming service also has a number of upcoming projects. Among these are the series adaptations of Ubisoft's flagship franchise, Assassin's Creed. Previously reported the series would see diehard and the writer and showrunner Vikings Valhalla Jeb Stewart acting as series showrunner, but recent updates indicates he has left the project. Diehard, one of my favorite movies ever. Collider's own Steve Weintraub had the opportunity to talk to Stewart about Vikings Valhalla for Season 2, where he also asked if he's still working on Assassin's Creed, to which Stewart said he is no longer involved. Weintraub followed up with an inquiry about what led to the separation between the two parties, asking if it was a different envisioned. Stewart elaborated, saying, "I think it was a little bit more of a move of executives from LA to London, and it allowed the London group, who unfortunately had to inherit my vision of what it was instead of going to develop their own vision. So I think it's fair." I think that's fair. I know it's going to be a great whenever it comes out. I think the Ubisoft guys are fantastic. I think it's a terrific franchise. It was just as good. It was just a good mutual time to move on for both sides. Yeah, so over here on Cinema Blend, there's an article about Until Dawn movie adaptation. Not any new news, it's just them talking about what is known about it so far. The Until Dawn games are already kind of like a movie. Until Dawn is getting a horror movie adaptation, and this is what we know so far. In May 2022, when Resident Evil was another of its 18th adaptations, this time as a series within the franchise, I wrote an article about video games. Specifically, I wrote an article about the horror video games that would deserve to be best turned into movies. One of my picks was Until Dawn, a PlayStation exclusive at first, but will be on Windows in 2025. But it has so many different endings and solutions that I knew making a film would be chaotic. But so much fun, and now it's finally getting the adaptation that I just knew would end up happening at some point. My man Rami Malek, who's in the game, and one of his earlier performances. As of February 2024, there is no release date. However, I doubt that this film will be releasing on any 2024 schedule. Yeah, well, I don't think so, considering there's basically nothing set yet other than who the director is. So 2025 would even be stretching it. The horror films are made pretty quickly, but there are many things stopping Until Dawn from reaching a soonish release date. The monsters within the game, which will most likely be in the movie, are quite creepy looking and will most likely take a lot of makeup and CGI effects to make them look realistic. Not only that, there are 200 plus possible endings. I don't even see how that's possible. That's mental. Who would want to play a game 200 times? Never do that. That just seems like, why would you even do that? While I doubt this will be the case in the movie, where we can choose our way to what end we want, I don't think coming up with the best story for the movie from a game with so many possible endings will be easy. Even so, I believe it'll be great, at least with much work and time. A choose-your-own-adventure adaptation would be kind of interesting though. Since the adaptation was only just announced by The Hollywood Reporter in 2024, it's not that surprising that no one has been cast yet. But like many other video game adaptations that have come and gone, actors who worked on the games could work on the new movie. Until Dawn featured an extensive cast of characters that were played by several Hollywood stars, such as Katie Pantier as Sam, Rami Malek as Joshua, Brett Dalton as Michael, and many others. However, a part of me also doubts that the cast would come back for a live action, as most of the characters in the game are young adults, and a good number of the real-life cast members are in their 30s and 40s now. Also end up being a situation like The Last of Us, where the original actress who played Ellie in the game came back in a guest role for the TV show. Until Dawn is a horror game following a group of young adults in a cabin being hunted by Wendigos. I actually didn't know it was Wendigos, because I don't really know the game that well. For those who don't know anything about Until Dawn, here is your crash course. It's an interactive drama horror game from Supermassive Games, a developer who made the project for PlayStation. Until Dawn follows the story of a group of young adults staying in their cabin for a weekend when dangerous monsters in the outside threaten their lives, and they literally have to survive until dawn. And they can get help. And Wendigos are not outside. The game is what I would call a choose-your-own-demise, where there is a butterfly effect in place, meaning one little choice can either make or break your playthrough. And God, did it mess up mine. I'm getting flashbacks just thinking about it. This is just, what the writer of this article is saying. Anyway, as mentioned before, dozens upon dozens of possible endings. The game became so popular, there's even going to be a PS5 remaster, which, yes, I am going to buy, because yes, PlayStation likes to remaster their games just a couple years after they come out, and all the Sony ponies lap it up. Until Dawn is an adaptation of the video game of the same name. As reported by The Hollywood Reporter, Until Dawn will be an adaptation of the video game of the same name, but we have no idea what the specifics of the story will be, especially considering the original game had so many different possible endings. However, what we do know is that Screen Gems, one of the production companies beyond the movie, describing the film as R-rated because duh, and a love letter to the horror genre, will revolve around an ensemble cast. Already I'm digging the vibes. Let's light this candle. So the game itself is like a love letter to the horror genre with the whole in the cabin thing, which has been done, but it still works. It's classic. Right now, the only thing we do know is that Gary F. Sandberg is connected to direct right now. As of February 2024, Dave F. Sandberg is the director confirmed to helm Until Dawn. It was reported by The Hollywood Reporter. The Swedish director has worked on several major horror films such as Lights Out, Annabelle creation in the Conjuring universe, and the Shazam films, but Until Dawn will mark his return to the horror movie world. Last thing we know from the Hollywood Reporter article is that Gary Doberman, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, is reviewing the script that Blair Butler originally wrote. Both of these names are famous in the horror movie industry. Butler has worked on various horror-related projects such as The Invitation, and Doberman has written all 3 Annabelle movies and The Nun. Doberman also co-wrote the Stephen King adaptation of It in 2017 and its follow-up, It Chapter 2. I mean, come on, I think this film will be excellent. They don't seem to realize until finally they're like, what if we get good actors and directors and writers to do this? Alright, my people, so that was a pretty good week for news, the week of February. I keep saying January, but like it's already February, which is crazy. February 5th to February 11th. That's my little bit of the news for the week, and I'm still trying to work on a Halo review, but my edits keep messing up. Start all over again, I don't know, but see what happens with that. But why don't you guys tell me what you think about any of this news? Assassin's Creed is being worked on, Until Dawn is being worked on. Some cool news coming out. It's only getting better. It's constantly exciting to get more and more information about this adaptation space. Like and subscribe and keep gaming.